Hello students, welcome to online science classes. I am Babita Bhatnagar from Jagran Public School, Lucknow. Today we will study chapter 1 of class 7 science, nutrition in plants part 2. Nutrition in plants. Children, we have already done part 1 of this chapter. We have learnt about the autotrophs, about green plants, the process of photosynthesis by which green plants make their own food. In part 2, we are going to learn about other modes of nutrition, about heterotrophs. We will learn about parasitic plants, saprophytic plants, insectivorous plants, symbiotic plants, and how nutrients are replenished in soil. Students, as you already know, plant nutrition can be divided into two parts, autotrophic mode of nutrition and heterotrophic mode of nutrition. You know the meaning of auto? Auto means self. Troph means nutrition. So the plants which can make their own food by the process of photosynthesis are called autotroph. So these are green plants. We have done this already in the previous part. In this part we are going to do about heterotrophic mode of nutrition. Students, now you have come to know the meaning of heterotrophs. Hetero means another and troph means nutrition. It means the plants which depend on another plants or organisms for their nutrition are called heterotroph. So many examples we can see in the nature of heterotroph like fungi, lichen and Indian pipe, amar bale. Around us we see many plants which depend for nutrition on other plants or organisms. Students, now we will discuss about parasites, parasitic plants. So what are parasites? Parasites are the plants which live on or inside the body of another organisms or plant. So the plant whose body they live on are called host, and these plants which live on another plant's body are called parasites. So how do they get nutrition from the host? They have certain special types of root called suckers, and they penetrate into the host plant and they derive the nutrition from the host plant. So some examples of parasitic plants are cuscuta, mistletoe, wheat rust and corn smut. An example of parasitic plant is cuscuta. It is called amarbel in Hindi. The another name of cuscuta plant is dodder plant. It is non-green plant. It does not have chlorophyll, so it cannot synthesize its own food. We can see the cuscuta plants twinning around the host plant. It is yellow cylindrical golden color plant. It has special type of root to suck the nutrients from the host plant. It deprives the host from the valuable nutrients. That is why it is called the parasitic plant. Another example of parasitic plant is mistletoe. Mistletoe is called the partial parasites because it is green in color, it can synthesize its own food, but it takes water and minerals from the host plant. Students, now we will learn about saprophytes, saprophytic mode of nutrition. These are non-green plants. They cannot synthesize their own food, so they derive nutrition from the dead and decaying matter. The fungi such as mushrooms, bread molds and yeast are saprophytes. Certain bacteria are also saprophyte. Students, you must be wondering, how do these saprophytes get nutrients from the dead and decaying organisms? The saprophytic plants secrete digestive juices on the dead and decaying organic matter and convert it into a solution. They absorb the nutrients from the solution. This mode of nutrition in which plants take in nutrition from dead and decaying organic matter is called saprophytic nutrition. The plants which use saprophytic mode of nutrition are saprotrophs. You must have seen this on the bread also. If we keep the bread for many days, so we can see the fungus grow on the bread. So this is also a saprophytic mode of nutrition. You must have seen mushroom umbrella-like plants, white plants growing on the dead and decaying matter. These are mushrooms. Students, you know from where this fungus grows on the bread piece and mushroom grows on the dead and decaying matter? The tiny spores of fungus are always present in the air. When they get the favorable condition like warmth and wet condition, they settle down and start growing. What are these spores? These spores are kind of a seed for the fungus plant. Fungi can be useful as well as harmful. For example, fungi such as mushrooms and yeast are useful. Mushrooms are eaten as a vegetable, whereas yeast is used for producing alcohol. Some fungi are also used for making medicines. For example, the penicillium fungus is used in making an antibiotic called penicillin. Fungi also cause disease in plants and human beings. These are harmful fungi. Sometimes the whole crop standing in the fields are destroyed by fungus. The skin diseases called ringworm in human is caused by fungus. In addition to parasitic and saprophytic modes of nutrition in some plants, there are also some other plants whose modes of nutrition are somewhat peculiar. These are called insectivorous plants and symbiotic plants. Students, we will discuss about insectivorous plants. Insectivorous plants are also called carnivorous plants. Carnivorous plants are plants that derive some or most of their nutrients but not energy from trapping and consuming animals like insects and protozoa. They grow in places where the soil is poor in nutrients, especially nitrogen. Insectivorous plants are green and carry out photosynthesis to obtain a part of the food required by them, but they do not get the nitrogen nutrient from the soil in which they grow. So the insectivorous plants feed on insects to obtain the nitrogen compounds needed for their growth. So they are called partial heterotrophs. They get some food by photosynthesis and some by eating insects. Students, now we will discuss about some insectivorous plants. First is sundew. As you can see, there are hair-like structure present in the plant. At the tip of these hair-like structure, the sticky substance is there. When insects sit on this plant, it gets sticked to the plant and plant digests the insect. The other plant is Venus flytrap. As you can see in the picture, the leaves are modified to catch the insects. The edges of the leaves are having the tentacles type of the structure, and as soon as any insect sit on this leaf, it get enclosed and the insects could not come out of the leaf, and the digestive juices are secreted by the leaf and insect is digested within no time. Students, as you can see, this is pitcher plant. In the pitcher plant, the lamina or blade of the leaf is modified into a hollow tube called pitcher. The leaf apex means the tip of the leaf is converted into a lid which can open or close the mouth of the pitcher. Inside the pitcher, there are hairs which are directed downward. When an insect falls in the pitcher, the lid closes automatically. The trapped insect gets entangled in the hair of the pitcher and hence cannot come out. After some time, the insect dies in the pitcher. The wall of the pitcher secretes digestive juices which digest the protein present in the body of the insect to form simpler nitrogen compounds like amino acids. These simpler nitrogen compounds are absorbed by the walls of the pitcher and used by the whole pitcher plant. Students, now we will study about symbiotic plants, the living together of two different species of plants as if they are parts of the same plant and help each other in obtaining food is called symbiosis, and such plants are called symbiotic plants. Students, now we will study about lichen, a symbiotic plant. In lichens, the green colored plant called alga, which is autotroph. Autotroph means it is having chlorophyll and it can prepare its own food. And non-green plant, fungus, which is a saprophyte, they live together. What is the function of fungus? The fungus holds the alga cells in its mat of web-like hyphae. What are hyphae? Hyphae are thin filamentous structure. The fungus plant absorbs the water and mineral salts from the surrounding and supplies them to alga. The alga plant, being green, prepares the food by photosynthesis and shares it with fungus. Thus both alga and fungus gain mutually from one another by living together. They do not harm each other. They help each other in living. Another example of symbiotic relationship is provided by rhizobium bacteria and leguminous plants. Rhizobium bacteria cannot make their own food. Rhizobium bacteria live in the root nodules of leguminous plants such as pea, gram, beans, etc. Rhizobium bacteria convert nitrogen gas of air into water-soluble nitrogen compounds like nitrates and give them to the leguminous plants for their growth. In return, what do they get? Leguminous plants give food and shelter to rhizobium bacteria. Thus, both rhizobium bacteria and leguminous plants have a symbiotic relationship and they help each other in surviving. Students, now here we come to the last topic of this chapter, recovery of nutrients in plants. How nutrients are replenished in the soil. The main nutrients required by the plants are nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium. These are called minerals. The minerals are present in the soil naturally. When the plants are grown, they absorb the nutrients or minerals from the soil, due to which the amount of plant nutrients in the soil goes on decreasing. And when the crop plants are grown in the same field again and again, then the soil becomes deficient in the plant nutrients like nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium. Due to this, the plant nutrients need to be added from time to time to enrich the soil and restore its fertility. The plant nutrients are replenished in the soil in the following two ways. The first way to replenish the soil is by adding the fertilizer to the soil. These fertilizers contain nutrients like nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium, which are mixed with the soil, and plants can absorb directly these nutrients from the soil and use it. The another way to replenish the soil by nitrogen nutrient is by growing the leguminous plant. You know, students, a lot of nitrogen is present in the atmosphere, but the plant cannot absorb this nitrogen and use it. Plant can only use the nitrogen in the soluble form. And as you know, that leguminous plant contain the rhizobium bacteria in their root nodules. These rhizobium bacteria convert the atmospheric nitrogen into the soluble nitrogen compound, which plant can absorb and use it. The remaining nitrogen compound mix with the soil in the field and enrich it. Thus, the soil in the fields get enriched with the nitrogen compounds in the natural way. This is the reason the farmers do not need to put nitrogen fertilizer in the fields in which leguminous crops have been grown earlier. This saves a lot of money. Students, you will be able to answer these questions. Question number 1. In lichens, the chlorophyll containing partner is an answer is algae. Question number 2. Which plants have rhizobium bacteria in their nodules? Answer is leguminous plant. Question number 3. Name a parasitic plant with yellow and tubular stem. Answer is Cuscuta. Question number 4. The mineral needed by the plant to make protein is. Answer is nitrogen. Question number 5. The carnivorous plants usually have specialized organs to catch their prey. That is. Answer is leaves. Students, by this we come to an end of this learning session. I hope you all have understood the chapter nicely. Thank you. I am thankful to my team members and IT department who helped me in making this video. Thank you.